want to hit on the bad officiating we saw in the AFC Championship game, Puma. For the longest time, let me get this out of the way first. I'm not a conspiracy theorist guy. I don't believe the NFL is rigged. But watching the Bengals versus Chiefs game on Sunday night was one of the most infuriating games I've ever seen. I haven't been that mad in a non-Patriots game in a long time. And I think I'm really mad because Puma, I think for the first time in my life, I had to confront the fact that maybe the NFL is rigged. I mean, that's how bad it was. And a lot of people are saying that it's just the officiating was bad that game. The problem is it was bad for one team, and one team seems to get all the breaks, right? We talk about the big, obviously Osai, pushed Patrick Mahomes on the way out. So that's a roughing the passer, and I get that. That's a fine call. But I've never ever seen a team get 5 downs. Ever in my years of watching football, I've never seen a team get 5 downs. On top of that, there were so many missed calls on the Bengals side, right? I mean, Frank Clark took 3 steps and ran into Joe Burrow late, and that should have been a roughing the passer. On the punt, the last punt to set up that field goal, there's a block in the back that was missed. On the actual call where Patrick Mahomes was pushed out of bounds and the roughing the passer came, there was holding on the defensive line, on the offensive line. So that should have been offsetting penalties. So I haven't been this angry in a long time, and I think the NFL. Listen, I think they truly believe any press is good press, so they're probably just loving this. The fact that people like me are losing their minds about how bad the officiating was, but the NFL needs to understand that the integrity of your game is at risk here with some of the BS calls we saw on Sunday night in the AFC Championship game, and that's something that I don't know if they care about, right? If they don't fix it now, they never will.
Mm-hmm. No, and Jay, at one point we were talking during the game, and I said this is something like Vince McMahon would be proud of at like the WWE. I mean, I'm not even calling it the AFC Championship game anymore. It's just the Kansas City screw job. I mean,
Mhm.
it was the Bengals versus the Kansas City Chiefs and the refs, and even like the NFL referee fella that was in the booth. I can't remember his name. The one with the friggin' index card that was trying to determine whether or not it was a first down when he was the head referee for a while. I he couldn't even really explain it, and
Mhm.
it's just like you're giving this team an extra down, and I would have been Jay. I would have turned the TV off if after the extra down and then Eli Apple being a moron.
Mhm.
The next play, if Mahomes threw for like 75-yard bomb for a touchdown, I would have turned the TV off because that was idiotic. Like you're telling me in the day and age where you have the sky judge up there and they see like a referee running on to off the sideline saying, hey, stop the play clock's not running, like nobody's going in Tolbert's ear saying, hey, like blow the play dead, like we can't do this right now, like you
Yeah.
let the play happen. Zach Taylor looked like he was ready to have some nitro pills on the sideline because he's about to go into a coronary. It was just god awful. And I'm saying this as the guy that normally says, if you don't want to have the referees make a decision that cause
Yeah.
the outcome of the game, don't put yourself in a position to have the referees do that. But I mean, the in this instance, like the Bengals really couldn't. If they did nothing, they still weren't going to get flagged. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed kind of predetermined
Yeah.
that the Bengals were going to be getting the majority of the yellow laundry on the field. And
Yeah.
now in the day and age with the sports betting, though, Jay,
Yeah.
like you see this all the time now, where you'll have like, let's say like prop bets, right? Like let's say Joe Burrow got hurt on the first drive of the game. Most sportsbook nowadays, and this is from like a customer service aspect of things, like that, players on those books now expect sports books to void out the plays because their guy wasn't able to compete. But
Yeah.
like, what if this like gets worse, right? Like, let's say the NFL doesn't nip it in the bud, and you have all these sports books out there now. Like now, you're gonna have fans questioning the integrity of the game, like you said. Like, are they gonna start demanding voided bets if they think like the fix was in, or if enough people chirp on Twitter and go like at DraftKings customer service or at FanDuel Sportsbook, like this outcome was bullshit. Like the refereeing was that god awful. Like it's not beyond the realm that enough people could cause enough noise to try to get their bets voided, and that's going to be a bad look for the NFL that's now trying to get that as additional revenue as part of the CBA.
Yeah, and I don't think the NFL understands just how detrimental the conversation is after that game. Like for 18 hours, NFL rig was being trending on Twitter. Like that's a bad look. Like that is, no matter which way you cut it, that's a bad look. When the integrity of the NFL games are being called into question, I think you've lost the battle at that point. I really do. Because there's one thing, like I said, to have bad officiating, but it's another thing what we saw on the AFC Championship game. That was that. Like I still don't understand how a corporation that makes $15 billion a year can't seem to fix this. And I always come back to the point that they don't want to fix it. They don't,
Mm-hmm.
because any press is good press. But now we're walking into a territory where the integrity of your game is being questioned by not just conspiracy theorists, not just people that always say this, but by people like me and you who watch the NFL for the integrity of the game, who believe what we're watching is a product that has no predetermined outcome, who understands the reason why the NFL is different than the NBA and WWE is because no matter what happens on that football field, it's going to be a fair and just outcome. But now that you're questioning it by people like us, I think that's a slippery slope. For the first time in my life, I walked away from an AFC Championship game not sad that the NFL season's almost over, but almost looking forward to the fact that I don't gotta deal with this crap product in the NFL for months. Because
Mm-hmm.
in my mind, the Super Bowl is a completely different animal. The last real true NFL football Sunday is the AFC NFC Championship game. The Super Bowl, yeah, it's a game that we'll all watch, but it's more a marketing blitz than anything else.
Mm-hmm. No, exactly. I'll do you one better, Jay. Like the casual fan is chirping, being like,
Mhm,
"Man, some of them calls like
mhm,
people are talking to me after the game, like people in the office that
mhm.
really haven't watched a lick of football
Yeah,
are
yeah.
saying like, Brandon, like you talk about this all the time, like what did you see? And it's like I saw exactly what you saw. Like
Mhm,
the yellow flags, the laundry was particularly tilted against the opposing team, and Carl Sheffers is going to be the NFL lead referee in the Super Bowl. I you know I would like to
yeah.
say like they're going to get their act together, but like at the same time, Jay, like let's kind of look down the road. Like, how do you think the NFL fixes this? Because you can't even like the referees don't even do
Well,
interviews after the game. It's with the pool reporter. So
well,
like,
well, a Sky Judge, right? I thought that was the hot new thing. We thought that was gonna fix it, but there was nowhere to be seen. And from what I understand, Albert Bray reported, I think a couple of weeks ago, that it's been kind of in the background, but the Sky Judge concept has kind of taken off with the league office, and there's more Sky Judges in play than we actually would know. Then my question is, and how the hell was it so bad? If that was in response, the Sky Judge was in response to fixing the bad officiating, and we got that product on Sunday night, oh my God, like you're in a big trouble, because
mm-hmm,
that tells me you're trying to fix the issue and you can't.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, you have referees in the NFL right now, like Jerome Boger, who is the NFL version of Angel Hernandez in Major League Baseball, who is just god awful. Like some of these people, these referee crews, really, quite frankly, don't even have business doing like Division like 2A for the NCAA. Like I don't know how they're still employed. I understand there's like a CBA, essentially a CBA agreement with the Union of Referees. And that was the big issue a couple of years ago
Mhm.
with the Fail Mary in Seattle. And that was the straw that broke the camel's back, that brought the referees back to the bargaining table. But I mean, I don't know how you fix it, because it's not like their collective bargaining agreements going up anytime soon. So
Mhm.
now, like whatever resolution you do now is under the CBA, and you're going to have to negotiate with their union officials. So like I don't know how they fix it, but like for all parties involved, and you would assume, right, that like the referees are getting a piece of the sports betting pie for revenue sharing, like the players are with the owners, like you would have to fix this.
Mhm. It's as if, Patrick Mahomes isn't already the luckiest quarterback in NFL history, in my opinion. The guy
Oh, Tony
fell.
Romo will tell you.
Oh my God, Tony Romo. We'll get to him in a second. He was abysmal, but in my opinion, and please don't take this the wrong way. I mean, this is something that it's a take that I'll get out there, and I'm sure I'll get pushback for it. But you know, Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback. I'm not saying that, but he also is the luckiest quarterback in NFL history. To go, we unlike Joe Burrow, who was good wherever he went, whether it was high school, LSU, wherever. Patrick Mahomes wasn't the greatest quarterback at Texas Tech. He wasn't recruited highly coming out of high school. He didn't go to Alabama or got offers at LSU. He had to go to Texas Tech because nobody else was taking him. And yes, he had splashes of great games at Texas Tech, but he also had horrible games as well. And to get lucky to walk into a system where the Kansas City Chiefs would win 11, 12 games on average with Alex Smith, with the best wide receiver in this generation in Tyreek Hill, and the best tight end in this generation, or second best to Gronk in this generation, and the best offensive genius in this generation in Andy Reid. You have all that luck going for you, and now you've got the refs in your pocket as well. Like, who's gonna win? How is the rest of the NFL gonna compete, Puma? How? Like, if you are already so lucky to be in that system, because I truly believe if you stick Patrick Mahomes in Jacksonville or Cincinnati, you won't hear the guy the way you hear about him now. Like, it would be completely different. Like, what Joe Burrow had to do taking a 2-14 team, instilling a culture of winning to the Super Bowl is something remarkable. What Trevor Lawrence is doing, taking a just a god awful roster, in my opinion, maybe a couple of nice pieces here and there, but a franchise in Jacksonville that's been habitually, correspondent with losing and taking them to the playoffs is something magical. Like what Patrick Mahomes is doing, yes, is good, it's great, but he's also so lucky to be in that situation with the perfect situation. And now the refs are going to sprinkle some fairy dust on him any single time any single time, any single time there's a questionable call, here comes a Patrick Mahomes fairy dust.
Yeah, no, or Andy Reid calls the Vince McMahon hotline and
Oh
says,
my
"Hey,
god.
like, I need a free 15 yards." And Vince calls up on the phone and is like, "Carl Sheffers, if you don't give them a rub of the passer, you're fired."
Puma, I've never ever in my life seen a team get 5 downs. Like, do we understand that? Like,
Yep.
it's one thing to I've seen obviously penalties come out and flags come out and you got to redo it down, right? I've never seen a play stopped and said, let's redo it. Like the punting team was on the field and the ref said, no, get the punting team off. We're gonna give you another down.
Yep.
Furious.
Do you think we'll see
Furious.
pigs fly pretty soon,
Oh
or?
my god, at this point, we'll see anything. Oh, all right, man. Ugh.